Ever since I was a little kid, I've loved cars. Dad and I used to go to the car shows and I used to sit in every single car, press every single button. I used to play matchbox cars with my brother and sister. We used to make race tracks and set up heaps of cars all around the house that Mum used to trip over. I used to ride motorbikes when I was little. We got a little Pee-wee 80 when I was about 8 years old. But because we moved around a lot because of Dad's work, I had to move schools. Adapting to new schools and making new friends was pretty easy for me. One hobby that I could always keep was cooking because there was always a kitchen around, and it's one way I found enjoyment. My name's Tyler and I'm a homosexual. You don't really realise it's just kind of like a long process of self-realisation and like asking yourself questions about whether you are, whether you're not, and I never really explored it. It's just kind of a thing where you stand there and you look at men, you just go, oh, like he's attractive, like I like that feature. But then you just think, oh, that's just me appreciating different parts of like people, maybe like that's what I want for myself. And then you start questioning yourself more and go, oh no, he has a really nice personality, he's like got a really good body, and then you're just like, you kind of just like them more and more, and then you're just like, all right, well maybe I am. Then like there's always that little bit inside you where you're like, no, I'm not, because you don't want to go against the social norm, and then you worry about it. And then, so it got to the start of year 10, and I felt like I was just living a lie, so I just had to tell someone because I was really worried about it, and I just felt like I had no one to talk to. So I decided to write a letter to one of my best friends, Jenna. I spent all night writing this letter to her, and I was really worried about it. I told her, don't read it till I'm gone. And then so she read it after I'd left, and she texted me just saying like she was all fine with it, there was nothing wrong, like she'd be there for me, and there was no issues whatsoever. So I actually never even came out to my family. One day when I was at work, my sister decided to use my laptop, and she opened it, and she'd seen a conversation that I was having with my best friend about me breaking up with this guy. So she went and told Mum because she didn't know what to do and she felt really bad. Jade came home and I was still awake, and she sat at my desk, and she sat there for like 2 minutes without speaking. It was really weird because it never happened before, and then she told me she knew about the messages and she'd read them, and then she thought I was going to get really mad because she had opened my computer, and I actually thought it was a good way because I didn't have to tell my family. And then so it was the awkward moment where Jade knew and Mum knew, but Mum hadn't come and spoken to me about it. And then so a few days later, Mum came into my room and sat down on my bed and was like, oh, is there something you need to tell me? And I was like, I don't know. She was like, I think there's something you need to tell me. And I was like, all right, like I'm gay. And then we spoke about it for an hour. And then Dad came home and Mum was like, well, you've got to tell your father. And I was like, okay. So Mum called in Dad, he came into the room, and then I was like, oh, like, Dad, I'm gay. And then Dad goes, oh, that's all right. I thought you were going to tell me you got a girl pregnant. And me and Mum just start laughing so hard, and then, yeah, everything was good. People didn't really treat me differently in general, just because it's like I feel it really depends on how you take criticism by people. So I didn't let anyone really give me crap for it, and if they did, I just, like, you just brush it off. You don't care about it because, like, who are they to judge who you are?
Hi, my name's Jesse, I'm 17. I've lived in Melbourne my entire life. I am studying at Upwey High School at the moment and hoping to go to Melbourne to study journalism next year. I really look forward to travelling while I'm at uni as well, maybe in my breaks. and I'm Tyler's boyfriend. So we met on Central Tour, but we did not get along at first.
I hated him.
Yeah. He was very rude. I didn't like him at first. But then we went to English class in year 11, and for the first few weeks I didn't actually sit with you, did I? But then I moved in to your little cluster of friends, and that's where it all pretty much began.
Went to the 1,000 steps.
Yeah.
Which I classified as a date.
Which it was not a date originally. But from there we actually did hit it off.
And then a few months later we started hanging out a bit more.
Yeah, like every week we were just together, and then we just pretty much called it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He started calling me his boyfriend before he even asked me to date him.
Yeah.
It was just, the first time he said it, he was like, he was getting off the train and someone was chasing him, one of his friends, and he was like, run or I'll dump you. And I was like, dump me? Like, what the hell? And
way to be subtle, hey?
yeah, a few days later, we went to Dragon Boat at Knox.
And I put in a fortune cookie, I put the writing in, and I was like, will you be mine officially? And he cracked it open, and that was the day.
And the first time I met your dad was the scariest moment of my life.
Oh, the big handshake.
Like, we're at
Oh,
Knox,
yeah.
I'm Alex. Like, here is this big buff tree lopper in his fluoro suit, and
Yeah, God,
I'm
that
Alex,
was-
nice to meet you. And Jesse goes, that's weird, he never does that. I'm just like,
Does
great.
that. Mum was pretty good, yeah. I was really nervous about my family because they've never met. I've never brought anyone home to meet them before that I've dated, but they were great.
And then Dad loved you, because
Yeah.
it's like, we sat and we're having dinner. and
Already
then
in the good
He was
books.
like, so what are you going to do with your future? And
Yeah.
you were talking about
Forensic scientist.
forensic scientist with a writing course on the side, and Dad gave me the look and the wink like, you've picked good. With our family and friends, the public response was quite well. Like, we know
Yeah,
a
it was
few
good.
people who haven't had a good as experience as us, where the family's accepting, all your friends just love it. Everyone at school didn't care whatsoever, really.
Yeah,
Like,
our
we just
friends were really supportive about it, which was good.
occasionally you get the point or the glare, but then other than that,
Yeah.
it's like, who cares kind of thing. I'm pretty sure all the teachers know, and they
Yeah.
love it. One of the teachers even said, I'll marry you too when it's legal, and she even was like, I'll be your surrogate, and we're like, all right. But no, it's
weird.
really good, because when we went to formal, like, we won best couple, everyone voted for us. And even one of the teachers went up to Jesse and was like, do you know, like, it's really good that we can be at a school where that's allowed to happen compared to other schools that really restrict that kind of thing. So I think we've had the upper hand and been lucky where we have had a good experience with everyone,
We really
mainly.
have.
It's more when you're in the public eye that you've got to be careful with what you do. You
Yeah.
can't be too affectionate, but we're not that kind of couple anyway. We don't go out of our way to make people uncomfortable.
Yeah, we're pretty good. We always keep a lid on things because we know how some people aren't as accepting. So advice I would give to people in a similar situation is I'd probably recommend trying to build up the confidence to talk to a friend that you may have had for a long time or someone you have a close connection with.
Go on social media. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that show different people coming out and telling their experiences and how they did it. I feel that way it gives you a wide perspective on different situations depending on your own.
Kind of unfolds your entire experience and helps you build confidence to talk to other people who will probably be just as supportive, but just as kind of like a security thing for how you feel about yourself.
Even now at schools, there's facilities that you can go to that help you figure out what you should do if you're in a safe or dangerous situation.
It's a really good idea to get that support from a really close friend.
To come out safely and just know your surroundings and be safe.